Alright, welcome back to the shop. Today we've got something a little different. I'm not sure that this is a real practical exercise, but anyway, I was on eBay the other day and I come across a guy selling some oil cans. There was a lot of four, and you know, oil cans are oil cans. You pick them up for $1 here and there. But the Eagle brand is supposed to be pretty good. My typical oil can is just a goldenrod. I mean, how many oil cans do you need? But you know, it's something you want to have more than one of. You don't want to, if you're like me, you'd be lazy and say, oh, I'm not going to walk all the way across the shop or walk inside or whatever to go get one. You sort of have one by each machine. I like to keep one by the drill press, one on the workbench, whatever, wherever I'm working at, just carry it around. And I misplace them all the time, so you know, it's good to have more than one. But anyway, they're nothing too exotic or anything. I have no idea what this one is. It says ED Corvette. Don't know what that is, if that was a store. Hardware store somewhere, wherever that's at. But anyway, so there's 4 of them, but I saw this in there, and I said, you know, that's just neat as hell. I don't know what that is. I mean, I know it's an oil can, but it's something I don't recognize. It says made in Japan, and you know, there's a distinction between made in Japan, made in Taiwan, made in China. China stuff is typically is usually an inferior quality in general, but Japanese stuff is usually well made, and you know, this seems to have every indication of it being well made. It's got a nice gasketed lid, a tight internal thread there. Let's see, it seems to be brass. Anyway, this caught my eye, and this looks pretty neat. I don't know if it needs any work. It's got a sticker that's probably 50% complete, but anyway, I think I might just polish this up. We'll see how that goes. But anyway, this was what caught my eye, and this is why I bought the lot for whatever I paid, $7 plus a little bit more for shipping. But anyway, the Eagle cans, nothing spectacular here. But then this, so looks like a decent oil can. However, the gasket is sort of shrunk down, and I've already tinkered with it a little bit and tried to push it out so that it conforms better. Anyway, it's not right, so I'm going to go ahead and disassemble this, run it through the parts washer, get some of the schmoo out of the bottom, and gem something or other. I surmise, because it says gem there. I don't know. This stuff definitely isn't near to my heart, so it's going to take a trip through the sandblaster. Then I'm going to polish it up. And we'll see what it looks like prettied up. I have no idea. I've never bothered. I don't think I've ever seen anybody try to clean up an oil can before. But anyway, it's going to be today's exercise. And we're going to see if we can't get it to not leak. I don't know whether that crook is supposed to be in there or not. We'll have to examine that later. Nice and brazed on there. Now this gasket is in great shape, and I'm not very skilled at cutting out gaskets again, so I think what I'm going to try to do is find 2 good flat surfaces and just apply some pressure and see if I can't get this to sort of expand out again. Now I'm just going to take this and put it in there and sort of flatten it out and see if I can't recondition it to go the other direction. Alright, so we have that getting flattened out in the vise over here. No, you can't see that, but there's nothing going on. So I'm going to go ahead and take this to the parts washer, clean it up, get the oil off, because again, the parts washer only works when these things are really nice, good and dry. So, bring you over there. Alright, so I've got the pieces dried off now, and I think in an abundance of caution what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and tape this off, because I don't want to necessarily have a piece of coal slag trapped in there and then inject it into one of my air tools. So I'm going to tape this off and get the sandblasting. God, I suck at this. Alright, so we've been through the sandblaster and the wire wheel, and it's looking pretty good. I don't know if we can do a little bit better with the Scotch-Brite. I'm not sure if there's any real need to do any better on this. I think it's just an oil can, so I can't go crazy with it. But anyway, again, this is going to get used, so I want it to function properly. What I'm seeing here is that the manufacturing process to however they finish this edge has a little bit to be desired. It's not, I mean, it's not a great indicator, but there's ridges, and you might not be able to see them per se, but I can definitely feel them. So, and this material is not too thick, but I think it might be prudent to come through with the sander and just touch the end of that, just to give it that smooth, even plane, so that the gasket, when it mates along this surface, is quite a bit tighter. Well, anyway, it gives the gasket a chance. So anyway, let's do that. Alright, again, it's going to be hard to tell if you can see that, but I've got it just touching, just barely, and there's maybe a spot here and a spot there where it's closer than it was, and that's all I was going for. Take a look, see how our gasket's doing. So it's flattened out a little bit. It appears to be a very fine cork. A very fine cork with wood chips all over it. Now my goal here is to get this to stick in place so that when I screw it on and off, it wants to stay. And apparently smashing it down like that has sort of taken some of the natural inclination for it to get back into that balled up position and fix that. So that's good. However, what I want to do is make sure that it doesn't move again. And what I'm going to use for that is this aviation gasket. It's sort of a very tacky stuff that doesn't come off your hands at all. And if you're smart, you'd probably use gloves. But I'm going to make sure my alignment is right. And I believe that the smooth side was down. So I'm going to a very light sheen of this this gasket tack material, and it's just I don't know if you can see that, but anyway, it's just smooth. I'm going to put that on here, and that's going to help this thing retain its position. I don't want any extra on there for fear of it getting into the works. I'm going to wait a while before I put any oil in this, but nonetheless, with most gasket material, and I like never use Permatex, well, never use superlatives, but I hardly ever use Permatex. There is a time and a place for it, and in any gasket material, usually a gasket is more than enough. But anyway, that's going to help tack this down in there and keep it from morphing back into any position that I don't want it to. So, alright, so I was going to just screw the lid on and have that bite down on the surface, but I realized that it was going to do two things. One, it was going to not really seal down the part that wanted to lift up, and two, it was probably going to twist the gasket and get it out of alignment. There's a hole there. So what I've done is I took a tongue depressor and sort of cut it down to maximize the surface area, and then use this little cant twist. I was hoping that I could use my my new toggle pliers, but these don't quite have the throw on them that these do. So anyway, let this dry for a little bit, bring it back. Alright, so it hasn't been that long. I put a little bit of heat on here with the heat gun just to try to speed up that reaction. I'm horribly impatient. It's a bad trait to have, but whatever. So, I heated it up, let it cool down. Now I'm going to reassemble and see how she works. Now the question is, does this... I guess that bend seems to offer a pretty good range of motion. So I'm going to assume that it's there for a purpose. Alright. Now I've heard this in quite a bit of the discussion as to, oh, what kind of oil do you use and blah blah blah. My favorite kind of oil to use in here is two-stroke oil. And the reason that the reason I like using two-stroke oil, I'll show you here in just one second. Yeah. Is that it's easy to see. So it's I think they just add dye to it just to tell if, so if you look at one gas can, look at the other and see if somebody bothered to mix the gas. Of course it doesn't tell you the proportion, but it tells you that somebody put oil in the damn thing for your two-strokes. So anyway, my favorite thing to use is two-stroke oil. Again, it might be, I've traded in all my two-stroke stuff for electric now. It's just so much nicer. But anyway, I've still got some oil left over from the old two-stroke days. And anyway, I'm just going to wipe this down with some furniture paste and put it on the shelf and use it. So anyway, that's my restored oil can with the repaired gasket. Have a good day. Oh, before I give up, before I call it quits, Scoutcrafter had another awesome video about the Klein coats, so I went ahead and ordered a couple. I am not going to try to steal his thunder with his great videos and put these on my own time, but I will own up to the fact that I tried Plasti Dip one time. And this was long ago, and the marketing is such a good, I mean, it's such a great picture on that Plasti Dip handle. You think, oh geez, this is great. So not only did I buy it thinking, oh, you know, yellow's my color. If you guys seen that other video I have, you'll know why. Anyway, but anyway, it's got the yellow dipped handles on there. I think it looks really cool. You go ahead and buy it. Not only is it not yellow, it works like shit. It's just horrible. So this was, I don't know, when it first came out, when that stuff was new. Anyway, none of it wants to show up because it's sort of crud on top of crud on top of crud. But anyway, I've got a couple sets of pliers that could use some good handles. Scoutcrafter, thank you for pointing these out. You know, you guys that make this stuff and sell it, you should throw a little bit Scoutcrafter's way for pointing this stuff out, because it does make people buy things. So anyway, thank you for the tip on this. I look forward to putting these on. Again, I'm going to do this on my own time. So anyway, have a good night.